When you listen to Buddhists, you listen to Buddhism. And when you listen to a Christian, you are listening to Christianity. But when you listen to Birthism, you simply just see the aliveness that is human, and you can choose. I ask you to learn how to embody worship. You will become aliveness to you, worship. And at that expression, you will be eligible to its own movement, and it will choose you. In exposing worship to freedom, it will take away its own desires. The entire world will be touched. Eternity is not, for I know that I can live after the death of a living life, and I know that someone has lived before I was born, and that someone can live after I have died. That is why I do not feel eternal. Do not teach yourself to not care about another's thoughts, words, or deeds, for this is a weakening of your existence. Do give care, and with it judgment, and allow your intellect. For God, if you believe, you must renounce one of two things entirely. You must either pray and admit there is no God, or you must say there is a God and never pray. Breath is not the achievement, it is the byproduct of creation of heat. Give praise to the heart. Respond to any sensation, inclusive of all things at you now. Respond with joy. There is not having to be a smile or laughter, but to all sensation inclusive of all things at you now, and to feel a moment and turn it into a momentum. Remember this. Good can feel bad because the good discovers the badness, and the badness sees it can be then good, and then they come together in celebration of their difference as you, the offering to the greater opposition of all judgments, more goodness in continuation. Pull your ribcage down and turn your blood blue, and I have no face and a tail that hangs over my right shoulder, and it rests tightly around my throat, as I learned I'm simply a shape, and a shape too fast to witness, and I realized I was in fact never there, as I am a shape too fast to witness. Together we take our worship to be embodied not by us, but by its own existence, and together we take religiousness in a giving of our embodiment in the world of one becoming friendship. And it is through uniting in a celebration of differences we discover within enlightenment to have embodied passion that is in love with its deepest affliction, which is to witness the love affair we can have for the unknown, for that which comes next. You can be indigenous. You are indigenous. Embody that. It is known to feel within, but wishes to be a witness to the revealing nature of life outside of ourselves. Greatness. The darkness awaiting our bravery and steps taken into the mist can only be reached by landing exposed to your will. Upon touch of the ground, there is a remembrance of earth, and it is you walking upon the earth. The earth is as old as the oldest living creature alive on the earth currently, but they are its reason. I am in the woods. I am down, and as I rise, soil falls. The tail of my spine is my lowest point. The scent of wetness as earth moved by me. I am moved. A bird has found me and closed the distance I had between not knowing and remembering. Freedom. The bird takes off and rising, looking across atop of the green until it levels flight on wind at an opening of the forest. Upon a pillar in this opening, risen to the point of the tallest tree, are two humans, both with one hand in the other's and leaning backwards letting the fallen hand lay thankfully without eyes to the fall. My life is an age between having been born and having died. I am a creature upon this earth. In my hands I hold the soil that proves me to be indigenous. There are no screams upon the pillar, and I am running. I am running and weaving through direction and between the trees. As we approach one another, a flickering of light is diluting my attention to my side. I do not slow, but I allow for my sight to reach, and immediately upon seeing my eye met with another, I am that, pouncing now with an intelligence I have never felt before, but am entirely accustomed to. My paws gliding to the next weight, pushing into and simultaneously off again to crave the pace and agility that I am, hitting my claws into the side of a tree to reach ground again, over and under, all mine and the fun of the forests. I reach eyes to the human beside me as he brushes slightly a branch of a tree in our run. On the tree I cling, and camouflaged I dart upwards. I pause and allow my eyes to circle the forest. In the distance I see the movement of wind passing by, the two in running away. At an overhanging branch making mirror of the slowly river below, I walk too, for finding fresh berries, and I twist under the branch holding on, and reach for one and take it, and one falls into the river with my vision besides its colours of reds and purples. Watching it fall through the water, it is taken by me as I propel myself forward following a path invisible to most eyes. Reaching the surface, the movement below me gives reason to take flight. Pushing away from the earth, I wing myself forcefully against what must look like nothing. I rise and rise until I am again sprinting through the forest to reach the opening, and as I jump through the barrier, that is the last tree I see, the eyes of myself in the sky, and I am here. I look up as the world watching, the two on the pillar, and I remember I was once there. I cannot be worshipped, I can only sense others with worship, and there is not a single way to be I any shape other than that which I am always, and that is a shape and a way unable to be witnessed because of the change that is. Time is not aging you, it is simply moving through you. An old leader of his city travels to a city to meet a young leader. He is given a meeting with the young leader. I have come to you for the knowledge you have. My city is failing and yours is thriving, and yet you are so young and new to leadership. I came here for the knowledge to know how does one rule with greatness. But it is so very clear to me now, those two lions by your side and unchained too, how your people must fear you. The young leader stands, yes, yes, there is so much fear. The old leader leaves with a proud stride, and leaving through the city speaking to the public of the great lesson he learnt of their leader, how you must be afraid of a man that sits beside unchained lions. In response, the people looked confused, and one man started to mock the old leader. What of this nonsense? A good leader does not sit beside unchained lions, he does not strike us with fear. The old leader hesitated, and then told himself he must be so afraid he won't even tell the truth. But this happened again and again until the old leader refused to leave without an answer from the young leader. He returns to the young leader. I was looked at and laughed at and mocked for telling them of their leader that sits beside two unchained lions. He told me to make them afraid. What is this? Fear, the young leader shouts. What fear is there when they know nothing of you and your lines and your will? The young leader said to the old leader, I fear the day these lions are not here. But then what would a leader have to fear? And then what would I share in common with the people of the city? The old leader says to the young leader, then tell me what I should do. The young leader sits down. You have two options as I see it. For your having returned, these great lions are overdue their feed. So I see. You can either run to the chest on the side of the room and climb inside of it and hide until their bellies are full, or you can run to the door, lock it behind you, and return to your city safely. The old leader starts running to the door as the young leader shouts, "But not before enjoying my great city. It is great for you, my leader, my third lion." A letter to sadness. What is it you are drowning in? And why take me with you? Why is it after the taking of my reach you pull on me and put me beyond the vision? You had a dream of I to find you, and you took me towards you as if my choices broke the bond you had with me. Let it be served to you, the one in need. Sadness. I have never seen a poor beggar. I've only ever seen poor beggars. Poorness is always different, and as we talk about beggars, we must know the difference in poorness. The poor beggar is the one that denies their own ability to judge difference. They deny the ones seeking human need. They deny the gift that is to see compassion awarded to life at their witness of giving goodness. They only have made themselves so very poor. They say to their own aliveness, "I deny you," and they have gained a richness that is to teach oneself the ability to deny. And they deny even their own sadness, which is absolutely important for humanity. They are dead and alive. Perfection lived alone, and before all else, perfection was alone and pure as love. One day, perfection as pure love witnessed the dawn and watched as the sun came, as if it was birth. The colours questioned her, and perfection heard recognizable sound, pain. I am perfection, I am pure love. I know only that, and I know nothing of it, as I am perfection and pure love. When the red sun rose entirely, perfection in a cosmic display of colour and exploding love, reaching into the pain, perfection took womb with hand, and at that, understanding brought out of them an ember, and as it penetrated the space outside, the ember grew into a fire in perfection's palm. The sun shone upon it, and the fire burnt to the ground and rose. Out of it a child, joyfully alive. The child was I, and I ran forward. My child ran forward. I was taking strides through the sky. My child was taking strides through the sky. I found my feet, finding land. My child found the land I gave to their search, and my child moved faster. So I moved faster in my giving, and my child is laughing, and I am panicking, and I reach my voice to take my child. And my child turns to face me, and he stumbles back, and before I could cast land to hold my child, they fall through the sky, but not before our eyes met for the first and only time. I, the child, fell into an explosion that created this universe. I am with an echo that follows me. The red sun has settled, and perfection is without a questioning. In the darkness, my child, you will get to know love and know what it is. I will remain love with only the knowledge of knowing I am that, entirely. I will watch you at the beginning of every new day. I am a child, and I have an echo, and it beats as my mother's heart, and it is the sun. Life is in no form capable of repeating itself. You are not responsible for anything. You are responsible for everything. You are not responsible. You are responsible. Before I was born, I was the darkness raising in absence of self, in a revealing display of reds, turning orange, moving colour. I saw a great jungle, and it told me I am going to be born into enlightenment. With me there was a snake, and it had turned on me viciously. We wrestled, and I held it in my grip, and I knew I could not kill this snake, so I tore it into two, and it grew a new head, and now I held two snakes, one in each, one in my hand, gripped tightly to not let them kill me. With the snake's lust for attacking me, I brought one closer to myself, and as it lunged to bite, I gave it the tail of the second snake, and both snakes latched onto each other, eating the other's tail, and it is that which they will do forever, for eternity. They needed to be owned, so I rested them in a space above my head, and there they will stay until my death. turning into one another, and then a new one will be chosen. Nyonglenya means expressing freedom of choice to pursue the greater meaning of that which is truth on its own. It is, to say, good continuation. Yohamult, approaching the absence of space that is available for reasoning through question. Invited to a university to join a group of intellectuals, I was asked, "What is intelligence?" "I will show you. Come with me." I walked to the garden that I had enjoyed before arriving into their building. "Stand as you are, and do not follow me." I ran across the garden and turned to face them and yelled, "Look at me. Run towards me, and when I tell you to stop, then stop." The group had run across the garden and stopped when I had told them to stop. One of you showed my definition of intelligence. They noticed. You others did not. Now watch myself and the woman that noticed run again away from you and back towards you. We ran, and with agile appreciation, we skipped over any little yellow flower that had blossomed in that very field. We moved across, not standing on a single one. The group had all noticed now, as we exaggerated ourselves for fun. Preventing harm while having as much joy is intelligence at its finest. An open path for all that is to come through. It is to be seen through my love which creates me out of that which it is held to. Are you telling me that you are made by that which you love? In regards to love, I am that. I am made from love. There are many teachers that have nothing but the current moment to teach, and that is not a teaching. For I have created something to teach, and I decide when I am the teacher of it. When two people come together to form a truth, the only truth is that the entirety of that which is occurring can only be a lie. There is no birth through forming a truth. People beyond religion took religiousness and infiltrated the world with their embodiment of the knowledge they theorized and showed us that movement within that which has cursed itself with the stroke of selflessness is that which turned light towards light and imploded. The weak found by the saving that took it upon themselves as their new great strength. Hanumu, Henyumu, to remember that I think, feel, and live in ways that I cannot understand. Okle, in conversation with another person, the okle is the describing word for the change between the inward reaction and the outward response to the person you are in conversation with. Selfishness is not the absence of goodness. Selfish people in giving do so absolutely authentically. Meditation should not be separate from the importance of your goodness. Know that, and you are on your way to become a meditator. Reincarnation has nothing to do with the death and birth. It is only discoverable in the aliveness of a creature. It is beyond time, shape, and it is, at the point of exact knowledge of itself, a person born, reincarnated. When the concepts are let go to their own freedom, there is an opportunity for carnation. That does not mean they have discovered reincarnation or have been. It is to say there is a reason for the nature of you, and a way you can decide to reach it. To be Buddha will never be the way to remain as the self. Reincarnation does not discriminate between creatures and say you are an elephant, you are a human. It is simply coming to the self that remains, beautified by its lust. I have not reincarnated, I am aware of reincarnation and its own enlightenment through the practice of judgment. Through the practice of judgment and truth, only a human is able to possess the ability not to have nurtured it, but to witness, and then turn witness into possession, and then disguise it as a creation, and allowing it the freedom it never needed. This has happened to me. I have today reincarnated. I rebelled against my existence and continued my existence through a becoming that has happened. I was a human for 29 years. I have devoted existence to me, and in search of hope of continuation I have continued to the point of no need, and that has not become an absence of anything, and thus meaningfulness is now self-defining. I am reincarnated. I was asked, why does your individuality not mean anything to you? And I say, because they live, because I am not. I was asked, what piece of advice would you like to give to people that don't believe in individuality? And I say, these people cannot receive advice because they live as if their belief is something more than them. They have become more than individual. When such a person is touched upon by an individual, they will immediately be threatened. They may try to replicate themselves upon the individual. They will expect many things from the individual, but the individual does not need to be rebellious. It is just their nature in individualism. Despite not causing any harm, it will cause conflict within the said person that is not believing in individuality. My advice would be as loud to them as me beating a drum with a feather. And when one attempts, or in their own knowledge does, replicate themselves, it is not a furthering of the self, it is a discrimination against the nature that we are. I'd not allow them my saying, and not be able to decide that what I am saying has reached the potential or actuality of it becoming and being advice. The best I could give them is myself, and to get to spend myself with them, and eventually, like a cure to disease, go to them at their own source and wait, patiently and ferociously strike upon any moment I see the individuality shine through, because that is what love does, celebrates, and that is the pain and suffering of someone as that entirely in meeting me. I want to see and know them not through my own imaginings or expectations of them, but through because of their revealings, sometimes so minute they don't even know themselves, because they do not believe. They have become their not believing and a home for things. And if persons are housing beliefs and beliefs of not believing in something which is them, they have become that thing. They have become not believing. For them to believe they no longer exist means they are out of themselves, they intoxicated themselves and drugged themselves. They need help and responsibility. Pleasure through knowledge, love through lies, listening, not learning, longevity through rejection, forgiveness through jealousy, motivation through forcefulness, and ownership through self-harm. Continuation does not have to be without change. In fact, the best complement to an origin is to continue it without conflict, while expressing it in a great change. Religion. Be religious to the deities, saviors, and messiahs and gods, instead of having to ask them for your religiousness. Do not approach them with your sins. Do not send yourself or others to them by declaring need for the Saviour. Fix yourself. Make yourself sinless on your own and then go to the saviours and gods. You in religions have damned them to 1,000 years of torture. Be good and go to them. Be the goodness that goes to yourself. If you want to get closer to death, to feel deathly, it is not through reducing your own humanity, it is through bringing your light to your own aliveness. Allow yourself to say to your own life, I will not harm myself and others. Come together with the spirit of religion through your goodness. Remember you were birthed. So do not walk into any temple with sin to be washed. No spirit deserves to be asked to cleanse you, and no priest can. You are on earth, you have time, that is your church. You have nature, that is your godliness. And your own ability to care, that is nurture, which is the aliveness of God having come to you. I have seen people pray for forgiveness by telling their Messiah to do as they tell them to. Forgive me, forgive me. If they loved them, they would first accept themselves and remember the beauty of change themselves and be it. They would approach their Messiah quietly and be able to relate to the truth that they too are born and on earth. I have seen people sit and chant to make their wishes come true and to take away their sufferings. They convince themselves they are powerless so they can discover the power of a force they are seeking to control. I say through love as love to you. Before you go to the holiness of life, first go to you. People are seeking someone and something significant to change them. Has anything significant ever arisen as them? And in this search, they go to something and someone significant and want to change them with their forcefulness. And I say to you as birthed on earth as your aliveness, that is significant. Allow yourself for goodness once to come through goodness, and in the love that comes and the approach to the religions and their gods and godly ones, you will see that they won't rest in your absence, but they will themselves come to you, and there will be a comfort of celebration within the differences. That is to say, they will be there themselves to you, and you will be there yourself to them. Do not fool yourself out of a lie. Be blameless absolutely, and accept no distance from oneself. Letting go has nothing to do with possessions. It is a teaching. It is the way to nurture letting go of attachments about the self, and I am not saying to let go of the self, but that which is about the self. For example, memory. If it wasn't so that it wasn't natural to let memory go, we would not have memory at all, and we would simply have a constant knowing. This is how people can get sick, because of the forms that happen unnaturally through the lack of separation between our natural state of being. When a feeling of harm is occurring during the psychological senses we are aware to, when that occurs, there is a confusion happening that can lead to more self-harm, and for a person to thrive naturally, they need safety within their environment to allow the space for their own nurturing to occur. That is why the greatest use of intelligence is to prevent harm. People meditate for realization, and people exercise for creative ideas, and people watch the sky to discover poetry. And these are all proof that there is continuation of thought, and the importance of it isn't entirely absented by letting it go. When one lets go of the memory of this importance to things, it does not belittle anything, but it simply becomes you as your aliveness, truth. Theoretical is life. Embodying is nurture. Knowledge is the becoming. Psychologically, psychology and philosophers and motivators manifestors, they will tell you that you can become what you know you can be, and the way to get to that which you want is to go through pain and suffering, but it isn't the truth entirely. It is that they only know pain because they aren't what they want, because they have hypnotized themselves by only pursuing what they know, and the true self in nature is to go beyond knowing, and that happens with letting go. People can't be the difference in the world. People that can't be the difference in the world will reduce others to receiving their attempt at enlightening them to a reality of nature that has nothing to do with truth. They will tell them that is just their perception of judgment or perception, and that is the reason for the very occurrence that is getting inflicted onto them. When in health, a human ordinarily is able to listen to others and themselves and thought and come to a continuation to get to a point of judgment, and it can be the absolute truth of what is happening and what is getting communicated. But when people that can't be the difference in this world confront to others this attempt, they are saying that not only can I not allow myself the joy of admission of not knowing, but I also deny myself the innocence of having someone listen to me and give thought and response to me and share a mind with myself. And communication is the soul when it is shared. It is a word I don't know yet, beyond description. Love. You know, but we can't share. That's its humanity in making connections we relate to, and the soul is communication, unlike anything else, does not have a need, but its joy is as lived through witnessing honesty and love, because those are the responses that give goodness to a human. It isn't even an opportunity to the world anymore when a good person is withdrawn from their judgments. For the happiness of humanity is based upon judgments. It is a gift. Perception is a matter of understanding. It isn't that the nature of reality is separate from itself, only at witnessing me, or you. So I say, do not let yourself be exiled and step into nature, for it is your aliveness, and it is aware of you, and it is not aware of itself. And when you are in nature as your aliveness through your own ability to nurture yourself, you become a gift to nature, as it can see what purity and love is by seeing you. You have never seen a flower that has never seen you. You have never felt a love that has not had love feel you. Every touch of light upon your skin is reached you with a perfect ending, as you. The sun will never say to you, step aside, I want to further my reach. It will simply move with you, and when out of sight it won't miss you. But the remembrance of you will go to its core, and when you come back, whenever it may be, the light will be there to you again. And if you need it to be so, it will not be because of memory, it will be for the rising of you. Because the sun does not rise or set, that is a human love affair. We are rising, and we are setting. The greatest use of intelligence is to prevent harm. Yoga is what humanity is to the earth. Meditation usually begins with a person that has many ideas and ends when they agree to just one. To those that have no idea other than meditation, they do not meditate, they live meditated. At the point of enlightenment, there is a continuation of one's life. Upon reaching all things, the enlightening is the continuation of your life beyond it. All searching simply leads to the fact you were born, and that was the goal of nature. And that comes with memory. People can do that which they know, but call it action and karma, and that means your dictatorship upon yourself is working. When you let go of what you know, that allows a blossoming of the relationship karma can have with itself without your control of yourself. It is in the discovery that you are your aliveness. I'm not seeking more truth or the knowledge of the truth that comes, but I am discovering when I am at the absence of truth. Again and now I understand the lie in discovery in its own aliveness, and I declare from birth my aliveness is the readiness I needed, and I say now all will come too. Humanity has done something new that never a living creature has done before. We have begun to go beyond our own reach into the future and come to a determination, and it is safe for people that are not willing to express change, and that loss of using doubt means the future is benefited by those that do not doubt, and if those people have it to their will for badness, then it will be to badness they go. And if God is not there, then you never had a becoming, or to be. I never want to have to write or think. That isn't the way I share in methods, where I discover the cause of my thoughts and writings. Are they a coming in or a leaving? Is there a problem, or is that just mistaking humanity for life? To life, I am not alived. To humanity, and I don't lose my aliveness here. But there is a reason for giving. Now I have no givings, and deny reason by belief. That believing is not a necessity for nature is real, and so am I. I have not had to withdraw. I simply never gave myself to the incarnation of self within methods for that which allow reason. And I never will. I am self. Selfish would be to withhold. I simply do not have anything. I have no distance to offer you in truth. To tell you I am, this close to that, or this far from something. I can't. I can offer no explanation to you. Judge me for your clarity before all else to me. Those that know when I speak for myself, or to myself, those people will come. Sadness is the day you don't return to yourself. Can you see the emotion at me, and judge it for yourself without my say? If judging is seeing what is beyond your witness, I am not a writer. I am simply just slow to respond, for time goes, but people go faster. Half an hour of this, and tomorrow you will be a god. If you want to see if there is a creator to believe in, first discover the bravery to risk everything. or just half an hour. If something was truly good and holy, you wouldn't need to love it, and you would have no sense of need from it at all. You would feel loved. The danger I do is in knowing that I'm never using myself in a way to lessen what is natural for a human, and when I am in feelings of sorrow, that knowledge is still there, telling me this will happen again, because I am the joy. When there is no longer seeking, there is no opportunity given to others, and this beauty allows the self to flourish. But if someone is not their self, they will cast you as a problem, further distancing themselves from themselves. Presence cannot be within a present moment, for the presence then is defined by the moment, and you have become, which is not to be. Presence is to momentum, which is divine. That means to witness through the true aliveness of the soul, and the only becoming has to be to the allowing of communication to belong to all things, which is defined by acceptance, that all things have come to you, and not my intention or seeking, but as you are there to all things. The gift is to present yourself to a measure of nurture. For example, how you present yourself to care is how you nurture yourself. What you saw others accepting was never that which I was, and that which they were in response to was me. Don't mistake discomfort for confusion. Don't allow creativity to create the belief we can share ability. It is the self. Exercise is the result of knowing much of our life is held between our shoulders, protected within our ribs, and held above our hips. The mind is a result of knowing the entirety of our life is everything else. Beware the one that tells you to fear something they themselves don't fear, for it may be them they are warning you of. I search my lungs like I'm holding and looking up to the reaching branches of a tree, and then I feel my heart's furthest reach and my blood turns blue. It is like the colour of the sky changing because of the light that I see. Knowledge gained through a reaching for an idea that is already designed by an attempt at controlling the future by either denying its own abilities or claiming to have it as an ability means the self is absent in the reward of knowledge. That is, to reject oneself to punishment. If enlightenment is the belief that you have attained that which someone will need in the future, you have not got enlightenment. You have something of a lie. That's all I am written up until this very moment said. And I hope to improve upon it in a way which I will one day read a book of mine and it will be as if listening to it would be a guarantee by many. But not before I have the answers for them. Perhaps that will be the book. The answer to them. The answer to you. Perhaps that is what I'm saying in this book. Our birthism is simply the answer. It's the only guaranteed quality that we have as creatures on earth is through our birth and nature's givings. Or if we look for equality beyond our birthism, we're looking at opportunity, and that isn't the human. The opportunity is simply humans not there. We need to think of the teachings of compassion and let them lead us to the knowledge that there is no teaching of compassion. There is just simply an arising of compassionate feelings when we are rewarded with a situation to be able to give our hands to help and need. When love is able to strike us in such a way, we'll be able to commit to a time frame which to say we are seen enough by the nurtures that nature is using in the absence of the love it wants to receive from humanity. Not as gatekeepers, not to withdraw, make in absence, but to let go, and within all the differences that are occurring outside equality, to be able to be the expression of understanding, that despite the differences we can remain compassionate.